Hey everybody, welcome back to the family. Um, so I titled this video "A Sad Realization" before I even. Normally I'll make the video and then I'll title it, but in this case I already knew what the title needed to be. Um, I I think I've realized completely and fully that they did not test this. Um, None of them, or at least they didn't care to make sure that they were paying attention. That before you're able to do this on Madhouse mode, if it's just a fresh playthrough, that plenty of gamers were going to choose to just play it anyway. Even if they tell you you should already have played the game before you get here, they knew that they made it accessible to unlock Madhouse mode quicker if you pre-order the game, and they knew that people were going to pre-order the game. So they knew that some gamers were going to choose to start playing Madhouse mode from the start without knowing the game, even though it was a recommendation. You know what I'm saying? And they knew, well, they also know, because these people are not stupid. Whatever I might have said while I was angry and upset, fuck that shit. I know these people are not dumb. I know they know what they're doing. It's just they they realized that they were just going to let it happen. You know what I'm saying? That they were just going to let some players get to this point and find out I have not been given what I need to get through this. And that is the whole truth. I have not been given what I need to get through this game. Look at how much handgun ammo I have. But that's worthless. Handgun ammo can't do anything against these enemies, and they know that. They know that, yet they still allow me to use it. You know what I'm saying? They still allow me to get a bunch of handgun ammo, knowing that at this point you will need neuro rounds to deal with these two fat ass dickheads. They knew from the start that I would need to. When I use those neuro rounds against Marguerite, if one of the developers of this game was looking at this, they'd be shaking their head. You know what I'm saying? Because they knew the whole time you're going to need those at this barn fight, and possibly even further beyond that. When I was unlocking these worthless coins, and that's one thing for anybody else playing on Madhouse mode. Do not waste your time with these damn coins. I'm about to have to go all the way back through the game and redo this entire fucking game on Madhouse mode. I'm not going to go back on easy. I'm going to do it on Madhouse mode. Because I used my money, very valuable coins, on these wastes of space. This one specifically. The other two just came with DLC. And the dirty coin comes when you beat the demo, with the secret ending. But it's just the idea that a developer would be looking at my whole playthrough and going, nope, you messed up here, you messed up here, you messed up there. And once you get to a certain point, you're done. You won't make it through. They knew that was going to happen. I know that they knew that. At this point, they had to have known. And they still developed this difficulty like this. And like I said, I'm not even angry anymore. At this point, I'm just really disappointed that they would do that. That they would do something where they knew it didn't have to be done that way and it should have been done better, and they still said, "No, we're not going to fix it. Just leave it that way." That's really sad to me. And it's really disappointing that they would allow that. At this point in the game, I have, by the way, if you see, I have the M19 handgun. This treasure photo is in one of the early it's this one. It's in one of the early rooms where you go to Lucas's club. And it's in a room with the first time you run into the bombs, it's in like the top right corner of the room. Under that mannequin head is a repair kit, and I used it on the shotgun off screen, guys. By the way, off screen. I used it on the shotgun and tried to use that upgraded shotgun, and I still have a save file. I actually saved it. I like ran around and collected so much shotgun ammo. I saved it, and then I tried to take on those enemies. You cannot beat them with the shotgun. it is required at this point for you to have either the Magnum or the grenade launcher, and I don't have any way of getting any grenade launcher ammo. I don't have any way of getting the Magnum. I have so much Magnum ammo that would be very useful against these enemies, but I can't get it because of the way they designed this. And like I said, as I was playing this, a developer would have looked at this and went, nope, you messed up there, you messed up there, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, as I'm on Madhouse mode. And that realization just, I mean, it doesn't even piss me off. It just makes me sad. It's just, it's not even a failure of game design because they didn't mess up. They did that on purpose. You know what I'm saying? They allowed that, knowing that that was what was going to happen. They just allowed it. And unfortunately, they won't, like, summon any kind of help for me, you know? And you might be like, well, what the hell are you talking about, summon help? Well, I could, as I'm searching around this place, I could be finding stuff to help me. And I'm not talking about the items that are already hidden, because if I didn't find the items now, I have found a few other things. But none of it's useful. None of it's helpful. None of it's antique coins. All of it is just crap, you know? It's just ammo and herbs. And it's only a few of those. So they really have designed this to where this is it. I can't win. And I have to now start Madhouse mode all over again. And then there's this, like, they give me a bunch of chem fluid and strong chem fluid, but that's worthless. That stuff is worthless. That's what I was talking about as well. It's also healing items. That stuff is worthless in this fight. It doesn't do anything. Here's flamer fuel. The burner is the worst gun in this game. Like I've explained, it has no stopping power at all. Here's another antique coin, but like I said, it's not going to be enough to get the Magnum. It's not going to be enough. And even if it was, I'm running out of supplements. Here's a flame round, but like I said, I mean, I need neuro rounds. I don't need flame rounds. It's a real shame, man, but I think this is it. Like, I think I just have to start over. And I'm running out of supplements, too. I think that was my last supplement, so I don't have the supplement, the supplements do not last long enough for me to keep popping them and check the entirety of the game for these items. So that was it. That was my supplements, and they're gone now. You know, I have some supplements and chem fluid, but at this point, everything just seems so useless, you know? All of this seems useless. Even the flame round, because the flame round that's the weakest grenade launcher round. My dog's having a nightmare. He's kind of like doing that baby bark that dogs will do sometimes. Poor guy. He'll be alright. He must be barking at somebody in his dreams. Yeah, it's real sad, man, but I don't see I don't see this being possible. I don't see it being possible for me to get through this. And I know there are probably, you know, antique coins laying around that I can find, but the chances, you know, the chances of me finding them. And I really don't want to use chem fluid to make supplements, you know? Because it's a toss-up whether I'll actually find something. See, I have one supplements and I have one chem fluid, but it's usually best to reserve chem fluid for using certain things. It's a toss-up whether I'll find anything. I might as well just put this away and these. Separating agent, I don't ever use this because why the hell would I? You know? Make chem fluid. Even out of my bullets, I could use my bullets to make chem fluid. 10 of my bullets. And handgun ammo sucks dick, like I always said. So I could use this. That would be strong chem fluid for that flame round, but that would be a waste. This would just turn back into chem fluid. That would be a waste. I mean, everything now just seems so useless. It seems like nothing I can do will work. I wish I could break this piece of shit down, because what's the point of it? It doesn't do anything. Might as well do that. And make the supplements. And just hope that I get lucky and find another antique coin. Oh. You got more supplements, but, like, I don't know, man. I'm very disappointed in the final product. The game itself, if you're going to start this game, do not play it on Madhouse mode. And I thought it was going to be difficult. I thought it was going to be challenging. I already understood that. What I didn't know is that they were going to make it to where if you don't automatically know what to do before you get to a situation, that you're going to find yourself in a severe amount of trouble. And there are also times in the game's design where you won't even know something was a better option. You know what I'm saying? Until it's too late and you can't go back. Like, I've tried so many things, yo. I've tried blowing their arms off. I've tried shooting their heads off. That doesn't work, you know. That would make total sense if you could shoot their heads off and stop them from using the acid. I've tried shooting their legs out, because what the enemy does is it runs at you. And get this, y'all. Y'all see where sometimes I keep getting bumped into? They literally bump their fat bellies into you, and that burns you. How? I have no idea. I'm always turned around when they do it, so I can't see what they're doing. I can't see if they bump you and a little bit of acid sprays out. I don't know what happens. And the game doesn't do a good job of telling me what happens. This is really disappointing, but I don't know if I can beat this now. You know, and like, it was difficult fighting Jackass for the second time, but they gave you a chainsaw, you know, so you didn't have to, you knew what you needed to do, and they saved on your equipment. But when it came to fighting Marguerite, they also gave you a buttload of ammo, right? And I was thinking, well, I'm trying to get through this fight, and I'm sure they're not gonna fuck me over later on in the game. They'll provide. No, the answer is no, they won't provide. And you think they would, you know? What was the game that did it so well? For a lot of the time, Metro 2033 did this exemplary. It was amazing. You know what I'm saying? As long as you were smart with your usage of your items, as long as you continue to use reusable items like your knives, you were fine. You would make it through, you know? And you would always have something for the job. But with this game, you have to know, on Madhouse mode at least, you have to know ahead of time what you're getting into. And yes, once again, I have to admit, they did say that, but that doesn't excuse bad gameplay design. That doesn't excuse the fact that you put me in a situation where my character is a slug. He doesn't have, it's not even logical. I could understand if at the beginning of the game his leg gets cut, then I wouldn't be saying, Ethan, you're fucking retarded. I would be saying, my leg is cut, there's nothing I can do about that. You know what I'm saying? How do I get around that? I can't. And I would try to find another way, and I wouldn't blame Ethan. But he's not even trying. And that's one of the reasons why I hate him so much, you know? Because he's not even fucking trying. You have a lot of these times in the game where they artificially slow you down, and then what? Am I supposed to blame myself when I die? Hell no, it's not my fault. It's not my fault that Ethan slows down so that specifically so that the enemies can catch him. I did not do that. You did that as the designer. You did that. I didn't get caught on any geometry. I didn't fuck up with my aim. You screwed me. You know? This is another reason why I say it's Japanese development. And once again, I want to say right now, it has nothing to do with race. I promise you, it's not about that. I don't have anything against any person based on their nationality. That's fucking irrational. I don't give a fuck about that. The problem is I keep finding this with Japanese developed games where they will put you in a situation where they purposefully design the game where you are unable to deal with that situation in the ways that you would organically think to deal with it. My first thought when Ethan comes up against these types of enemies is dodge. You have to know how to dodge. You have to know how to get down and avoid their attacks. You have to know how to run out of the way. Ethan can't do any of that. Even when you get down and dodge their attacks, their acid will sometimes hit you, and you're not really sure why. And the game does not explain why. Sometimes it goes over the little haystacks and hits you. Sometimes it doesn't. The game just lets it happen. And it never explains what you need to do to avoid that. The game just doesn't do a good job of taking care of its player and informing you as to what exactly you can do to get through a situation. On normal mode, this would only be possible because they have less health. You know what I'm saying? It's not possible because, you're better at the game. It's possible because they have less health and your ammo will do more and go further. And that's one of the reasons I play games on the higher difficulties, because I expect your design to be able to, because I'm a veteran gamer, you know what I'm saying? I know what I'm doing. I can form to any design you need me to form to as long as I'm enjoying the game and I want to play it. The problem is when your design purposefully adheres to forcing the player to take damage, purposefully adheres to slowing the player down and it disadvantaging them on purpose so that they are harmed by the enemies unfairly. And that's what happens in this game. And, normally I would be thinking, well, maybe I can just make it past this point and I won't run into this trouble. But the problem is Ethan's slowness is built into the game. It is, at this point, it's a gameplay mechanic. So I can't avoid it. There is no avoiding it. It is just a part of the game. And unfortunately for a lot of developers, when you're playing on a higher difficulty, a lot of the bad decisions shine through. Which is exactly why I play on harder difficulties, to see whether the designers designed the game fairly and correctly. Unfortunately for me, a lot of them do not. I'm sure I'm missing some stuff, but like I said, I have one supplement, or I have one, I guess, pile of supplement tablets, and this psychostimulants, excuse me. And this fool here downs all of them instead of taking some over time. What the game does extremely well is its atmosphere. It knocked that out of the park, and we knew it was going to from the demo. And then even when you're in boss battles, when you see Marguerite coming after you, that is my favorite boss fight. I know, right? I had so much fucking trouble with it, and you think I'd hate it. But the way they dressed Marguerite in that lighting, and the way she walks and holds her her hands out like that, oh, it's just the creepiest shit. And going around that table, I go back and watch that video of her going around that table, that shit is straight up creepy. I loved that sight. I loved it. So the atmosphere is amazing. But like I feared, the gameplay is not up to par. And it's because of deliberate actions that they take to disadvantage you. They give you a guard, right? For instance. You can tell this was a bad idea, the guard, right? This is what he does. He guards like this. Even with Jerry, even if you have like a look at this, you'd think this would actually block all the damage, right? If it hits the gun and not you. No, you're going to get hit. You know what I'm saying? No matter what you do, you cannot block all damage. Now, that means you're forced to take damage. And to make matters worse, when you guard enemy hits, you are stun locked. So you can't evade. There's no moving away from the enemy. You'll guard their attack, and you better be hoping that another enemy is not right behind them about to attack you as well, which unfortunately happens in that fight, the barn fight, because the other fat guy is right behind one of the fat guys. So while you're blocking one attack, the other one will either spray acid on you or hit you. That will stun lock you long enough for the other one to beat you to death. That happened to me. You guys have seen it. I've recorded it already. You know what I'm saying? So they literally created a part of the game where if you just don't have the amount of ammo you need to just and the right ammo too, you got to have the right type of weaponry. You got to have the Magnum already, or you got to have the grenade launcher, and you have to have the right rounds for the grenade launcher. I'm absolutely certain that these flame rounds are not going to do anything, you know? If the burner doesn't do anything, which you'd think that the burner would be able to burn the mold away. You'd think it would do a lot of damage against the molded. Nope. And that was deliberate design. You know, a more intelligent design would have been, if you bring out that burner, the enemies scooch away from you. You know what I'm saying? It gets them off of you. So the burner in that way becomes one of the most effective weapons the player has. Although it doesn't do too much damage, it forces the enemies away from you. That's some creepy shit. It forces the enemies away from you. Kind of like how the alien works, right? Now, sometimes the alien in Alien Isolation doesn't work right. Sometimes it still, you know, attacks you anyway, especially if you're close to it. And sometimes, even if you're hitting it and you're far away, it still just runs up and hits you. That's because, you know, that game had its own design issues, to the point where I just stopped playing it. I was like, fuck it. I had already been through it. I didn't even want to broadcast the rest of the game because it was so fucking frustrating. But at the same time, like, instead of doing that, the burner is a worthless weapon. It has an extremely low amount of damage. It has no stopping power. And it is effectively only a tool. It's not even a weapon. It's only a tool to get, you know, certain enemies off of doors. That's all its use is. Other than that, it's worthless, you know? And that's a shame. That's a shame that they didn't pay attention. That's a shame that a weapon that you took time to animate, you took time to put in the game, is essentially a worthless piece of trash. It doesn't do anything that the player needs it to do. And if it was never in the game, no one would ever notice. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, where's my flamethrower, you know? But if the burner was in the game and you took it away from me and it was an effective weapon, I'd be like, no, not the burner. At this point, I wouldn't even shrug. I wouldn't care. Period. Because it's so worthless. To make matters worse, with this type of enemy that I have to fight in this area, there is no tricking it. There is no being deceitful. Like with the Marguerite fight, look at this area. I'm in the Marguerite area because I love this fight so much. And I'm also because I'm searching for crap. But you could, you know, when she's coming around you, she's crawling around the ground, you can go in here. You can go around here. It gives you, that's exactly what I did in the fight. You know what I'm saying? You guys saw it. There were things in the environment you could use to block her getting to you. And you could put your head right and retaliate correctly. But in this fight, when I get to... Looks like sushi. When I get to this barn fight, because of the way they design the area, there is nothing you can do. When they get to you, you're done for. That's it. There's no, oh, maybe you should use the haystacks. I tried using the haystacks. Not only do they get to you regardless, but oftentimes one of them for whatever reason, will stop moving and the other one will continue moving. And if you think, oh well, okay, Broken Wolf, just shoot at one of them and then shoot at the other to stop them both from moving. I tried that. What happens is you'll shoot one, and then as you're aiming at the other, and even if you shoot the other, as you're aiming at the other one will vomit on you and stun lock you, and then the other one will run up to you and start hitting you, and then they'll stun lock you to death. If you're telling me, wait a minute. If you're telling me, well, shoot one and then dodge that one's attack and then shoot the other. The problem is the acid that they spew, guys. They don't spew it in a straight line like Jormungand or Midgardsormr, actually, more like Midgardsormr did in Final Fantasy 15. They don't spew it in one way. They like shoot it all over the place. This looks like a ladder. Cool. They shoot it all over the place, and what happens is it just gets all over. It covers such a wide swath of ground that you won't get away from it. You know what I'm saying? It's going to tag you, and all it takes is one tiny little tip, and all of a sudden you're stunned, and then the next one, the other one comes up to you and just starts hitting you, and there's nothing you can do because they weren't. I gotta tailor my tailor my language because I was about to say because they weren't smart enough, but I'm not pissed. I'm just very disappointed because they weren't thinking correctly about what they needed to put in this game. They put in a guard that is useless. First of all, a guard that doesn't block 100% damage is not a guard. Stop putting that in games, okay? Stop doing that. Everybody, stop doing that. Nobody enjoys it. Nobody likes it. Nobody has fun with that. Stop that mechanic completely. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Okay? That's like putting a certain amount of continues in your game before you have to start the whole game over again. For a game like this. You know what I'm saying? Stop. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Stop doing that. It is not a good mechanic. No one enjoys it. No one wants that mechanic. Nobody has fun with that, and it's not a fun way to play the game anyway. Let it go, okay? So guards that don't guard 100% of damage, let it go. But you could have, instead of R1 being some worthless guard, you could have had it be R1 is an evade move. So when you press R1, he like braces his knees, right? So he would, instead of putting up his arms uselessly, which you're never going to really use that throughout the game, as you saw, because it's worthless. He ducks down a little bit. Like he won't go this far down to a crouch, but he'll duck down, and he'll kind of like put his hands to the edges of the screen, so you'll see his hands, right? And that'll be you're in evasion mode. So while you're in evasion mode, you can press any direction and he will evade, including forward. The forward is like a rush forward. So it'll knock enemies off their, it'll knock enemies backward. If an enemy is not already in an attack animation. So say an enemy has gone into an attack animation, you backed up and dodged it, you could hold R1 and press forward, and Ethan will knock them backward, and that will oftentimes open up room for more attacks. You see how I'm thinking? You see how that automatically could have made battle with these Fatzos a lot more logical and a lot better in general. What you could do is, when they come close to you, they do a swipe and you thrust into them, right? Since they're so big, their belly kind of knocks them backward, and they either fall over or fall on their butts. Now, if they fall on their butts, they push off the ground quickly and attack. So you have to wait until you know they've fallen all the way down. Then you'll have room to go in and attack them. You know what I'm saying? And while they're getting up, they're vulnerable to your attacks. So you can get free hits in. Now, dealing with two of them wouldn't be impossible, because all you would need to do is dodge back, thrust forward, knock one down. If he's completely down, you'll turn to the other one, dodge back, thrust forward, and then attack the one that's getting up. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. You could make sense of it. But the way it's done now, there is no sense of it. They just keep coming after you. and they run after you and run after you and run after you and throw up on you and throw up on you and stun lock you until you die. And I don't know if this game has a New Game Plus feature, but that was probably what they expected, you know, that you'd be using New Game Plus, or they probably expected that you would know what to do, so you would not use Neuro rounds or not use your flame rounds. But there's no way I could have known not to do that. And I know what people like. I already answered this. It does not excuse bad gameplay design just because you tell me be careful. You know what I'm saying? We've designed this badly, just to let you know. No, that's not okay. Don't fucking design it badly from the start. Don't ever do that. And I'm not going to allow you to make excuses for shitty-ass game design. Stop designing it shittily. That's the answer to that. Not, okay, that's cool, you made an excuse, it makes it okay. No, stop designing it shittily. That's what the answer to that is. I mean, I still haven't really gotten anything. I mean, I was hoping I would luck upon more coins, but look, I've got like 5. Yeah, I've got 5 to go for the Magnum. The Magnum is my only hope right now, and I need 4 antique coins. There's nothing I can do. So, I mean, my advice to you is, if you're starting this game on Madhouse mode, don't ever use any explosives on the bosses unless it's these 2 fatzos that you can't get around. And don't buy these. Don't buy the assault coin. Don't buy the defense coin. They're worthless. It makes you feel stronger. You know, what is up with that definition? Interesting. This has a crown. You see that crown? I think I've seen that in Resident Evil before. I don't know. Yeah, they're worthless. They're worthless. They do nothing to help me. The dirty coin is utterly worthless as well, you know? And you think that the dirty coin would give you, I don't know, more defense against molded. No. No, it doesn't. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. Didn't seem like it did anything. They're utterly worthless. I just don't know what to do. And I'm so early in this fight that no one has uploaded on YouTube a guide to taking down this barn fight. It's probably because everybody else is stuck on the barn fight too. My God. So I picked up 5 coins, right? I did. 5 antique coins, but the problem is I could have gotten the iron defense, but why? The problem with this fight is not that I can't live long enough. The problem is that I can't do enough damage. Excuse me, sorry. The problem is that I can't do enough damage to this enemy to even take one of them down. And because they don't have to worry about hurting each other. Because they don't have to worry about hurting each other, they spam the ever-living hell out of their attacks with no repercussions. And they can get away with doing that. And I can't punish them. You think that while they were charging up the vomit, they would have made here's another idea you could have did that you failed to do. Instead of, since their vomit attack is so deadly and so fucking random, when they're charging it up, if you shoot them in the head, they stop doing it. You know what I'm saying? They just kind of like go into a stumble animation. And from then on, they don't just spew the vomit randomly, which they do. They only spew it when they have a complete line of sight with the character, right? So if they were standing right there and I'm standing right here, one of them would try to spit on me and they would spit in a straight line. It would just be a straight, vomit forward. It wouldn't be just turning your head fucking tail whip vomit that can hit you wherever you go. Ethan moves like a slug. You guys have seen it 1,000 times. I try to get away. Look how slow he's running. I try to get away, and they just turn their head quickly, and I get lashed with the vomit. Then another one comes up and just starts beating my ass. And Ethan's such a fucking coward, he can't do anything, you know? He's so weak and so worthless that he can't do anything to defend himself. So, as sad as it is, I think I'm going to have to start the entire game over again on this difficulty and just not use any of my grenade launcher ammo until I get to this fight. And then, I mean, who's to say? Probably later down the game, I'll need grenade launcher ammo, and the game won't provide. You think the game would have provided at this point, you know? I'm gonna go use these supplements and do it off screen, and I'll tell you guys what happens later. Thanks for listening to me bitching. I'll see you soon.